see waterline. Headlights, I've been with midnight through the city. I've been going through some things, trying to get my mind right. Push the bucket to the lip, push that mission to the finish. Gotta get the full control, gotta get my mind right. Headlights, I've been with midnight through the city. I've been going through some things, trying to get my mind right. Push the bucket to the lip, push that mission to the finish. Gotta get the full control, gotta get my mind right. Flashing on these high beams, she won't stand beside me, even if I'm blinded.
Sound is okay. All right. Somebody say mute.
Let me know if the sound is okay now. Are we good? Are we good? What's up, man? How you doing? Yeah. See, yeah, this is why I always gotta check, man, because sometimes StreamYard be tripping when it comes to it. You know, sometimes. All right, so we good. Fire signs in the chat. If we got the sound, I just need to know that everybody has the sound and stuff like that, because we're gonna go over some key names that I've been kind of noticing, because I think that there's a strategy for Dallas this year that there wasn't last year. I think that they actually have a direction. I think last year kind of got caught trying to be a little greedy, trying to get that pick back. And I think that we ended up with Guyton, and I think that they were trying to get Barton, and I think that they were trying to get, that extra pick back that we lost in the fourth. Damn, it's a little, so the sound is muffled. All right, hold on. Let me see something real fast. For those that do these live shows, sometimes it's a little weird. I'm gonna unplug. All right, is it muffled now? Let me know if it's muffled. If we good? Lil Bill said it was cool, but I still see everybody else saying that the sound is muffled. And I've heard that only StreamYard kind of deals with this, but let me know if it's good in the chat, guys, because I do have some names that we're going to talk about today. I talked about it with the Cowboys group. With the Cowboys group, there was a couple names that I threw out there that I've shown. So we're good. We're good. All right, bet. All right, cool. Appreciate y'all, man. And any super chats or anything like that is always appreciated. You always get priority. And so I'm gonna actually share. I'm gonna share my screen real fast, and we're gonna start with a list at Walter Football. All right, so we're gonna hone in on Walter Football does an excellent job with laying out combine visits, local visits. They used to do Senior Bowl. I didn't see any Senior Bowl this year, but just to name a few, we see Trey Amos, cornerback, Ole Miss, and seeing that name quite a bit on people's mock drafts and stuff like that. He was a combine visit. Kelvin Banks, which I would highlight that name if I'm you guys. My guy Ben, by the way, Ben does excellent draft stuff. So if you guys aren't following him on Twitter, go follow my guy. Go follow him. Barron, cornerback from Texas. That's another name. Actually, too, Texas has another DB too that Dallas is very, very interested in. Oklahoma State, Corey Black, cornerback. So you guys are kind of getting where they're going, because corner is definitely a need with Trayvon being, he probably ain't gonna start the season. And you just got Bland in there, and seatbelt, Kalen Carson. We don't know what he's gonna be. I think he's gonna be better in year 2, but That remains to be seen. But I think that cornerback is something that they've been looking at. Appreciate you. Appreciate you, Ben, for the super chat, for the deuce. We here for you, big dog. Appreciate you, my dude. Hey, we definitely got to do some work if you up for it. Definitely got to do some work. Uh, always been a fan. Always been a fan. Luther Burden. We got a 30 visit. I want to say so. I think they left out. I don't know if he was a combine guy, but KD Drummond, I think he did a list too. So we're gonna look at that as well. Alfred Collins, defensive end. Alfred Collins has some position flex. That's a name to watch out for. I would highlight Alfred Collins. Alfred Collins for sure. Not a first rounder, but I would highlight Alfred Collins because I do think that there's some major interest there. You know, and you guys stop me if you think I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure. And just to let you guys know, I know that a lot of people have been doing and combing through the top 30 visits. They've been combing through who the Cowboys have been talking to and stuff like that. I can assure you guys that if it sounds the same, it just means that great minds think alike. I have not watched anybody else's videos when it comes to combing and stuff. I didn't even watch Jay Tuck's video because I knew that I wanted to do my own, and I'll probably go back to it later on. But just to let you guys know, this is me talking off the cuff. This is me highlighting names. This is me doing my own work. So if it sounds the same or if it sounds like somebody else's, that might mean that you guys should probably take your highlighters out, take your notebooks if you have it, you know what I'm saying, and highlight these names. Cornerly, offensive tackle, pro day from Oregon. You know, they were at Oregon for the pro day. We're actually going to touch on that too. Katie Drummond did an excellent article on it, on actually the pro days that not Dan Quinn, sorry, Matt Eberflus and Shadi went to. So he did an excellent job. And if you guys get a chance to go check that out, you know, KD Drummond, I'm a big fan of him too. He's from the DMV. We gotta link up. Jackson Dart, I think you can cross that off your list. I think you can cross quarterback off your list for this year. Quinn Ewers, I think you can cross it off your list unless he's an undrafted guy, which is possible because there hasn't been great feedback on Quinn Ewers. Emeka Egbuka, you gotta. So I think they met with him at the combine. I'm not sure, so I have to go back and look. But he's a top 30 visit, and that fits within that 12. I would highlight Emeka Egbuka as a name at 12. I would highlight Emeka Egbuka. Luther Burden, Emeka Egbuka. I would highlight those names as possibles at 12. Rivaldo Fairweather, not so much familiar with him. Matthew Golden, who was a local visit. I would highlight Matthew Golden. I would highlight Matthew Golden as one of my potential 12s. Ben, since you said I'll give you another freebie. You said my favorite fit for the Cowboys from this list. And Ben, I don't know if you listened to my live yesterday. I did a short on Emeka. Actually, I put it out on Twitter. I think that he's the best fit day one as well. So we're in agreement there. I agree with that wholeheartedly. I think day one, I'm gonna put that up again. I think Egbuka is your day one fit as it stands. You know what I'm saying? And if we were to get him at 12, I'd be ecstatic about it. I just, you know, I'll say it again. I think that it's just fatigue. It's draft fatigue. Tired of hearing the name. We've been watching him for 4 years, and you know we've seen more of him than anybody else. Even more than Tech. We've seen more Abuka than we've seen Ashton Jensen. So I think that a lot of it's left a lot of really people don't even poke holes in this game that even like remotely kind of makes sense. It's just you're tired of them, and I get it. But yeah, I feel you. I feel you. Ollie Gordon. I would highlight Ollie Gordon on my list for this reason, right? I would use a different marker for Ollie Gordon. I think Ollie Gordon might be either a late possible, or an undrafted free agent. I do believe that the Cowboys, with his stature, how he runs the ball, where he would fit, Ollie Gordon possibly being a running back one type, being a I kind of one of my comps is LeGarrette Blunt. Um, it may or may not be right, but Ollie Gordon is an enigma because you watch his tape last year, then you watch his tape this year, then you watch the Senior Bowl, and it's just like it's so up and down. You see so many flashes of him being a great back, kind of like a Steven Jackson type, and then it's just like you watch him, and then sometimes you're underwhelmed, and you don't know if it's because of the people around him or if he just kind of has mental lapses in plays sometimes. Like I don't know, but I do think that he's worth a roster spot for somebody. You know what I'm saying? He's worth figuring that out. Charles Grant, William and Mary, Maxwell Harrison, Kentucky corner. Again, the theme of corner. They're leaving no corner. They're leaving no corner unturned. You know what I'm saying? We talk about the Stones, but you know what I'm saying. We're gonna. So Omarion Hampton, highlight that name. He's been mocked from Mel Kiper 3 times in a row. You get a combine visit. He's a top 30 visit. So they didn't put top 30, but he's a top 30 visit. Highlight that name. Highlight it. Highlight it as a potential 12. Marcus Harris, cornerback from California Pro Day. Travion Henderson. Highlight that name. But I wouldn't highlight it as 12. I think that that's a possible 44. So Travion Henderson, possible 44 in my opinion. I don't think anybody has a first round grade on Travion Henderson. Hunter from Auburn, they had a virtual. Landon Jackson, I don't see. Ashton Genty, highlight that name. They've been very, very quiet on the Ashton Genty front. And for Ashton Genty, remember I said this. I think that, and this is me, this is how I think of how I feel about it. Ashton Genty is the only player in this draft that I would trade up for. He gets to a certain number. He gets to about 9, where maybe New Orleans is looking to get some extra picks or something like that. Because I do think that Ashton Genty, I think that he transforms your team right now. I think if you just get him, if you just added Ashton Genty to this roster as it stands right now, I think we go from a 7-win team to a 10-win team. Me, J Tuck, Rome, we went over it, and we even added the wins, and we looked at the schedule and how it will play out, and we think that alone, that move takes us from 7 wins to 10 wins. So highlight Ashton Genty. He got a local visit. I think they're trying to keep it quiet. And if he gets past the Raiders, I think you got to look at it as a you got to look at it. You have to consider it. Have to. I know how people feel about it. Remember, I said it. Caleb Johnson. I think as a potential, I don't think he's got a top 30 visit yet. They met with him at the combine. Possible 44. Possible 44. Will Johnson. I know they met with him at the combine. I didn't see his name on the top 30 yet. So I would reserve that. You know, Judkins, possible 44. I would highlight that as a possible 44. I don't think he's gonna make it to 44. Henderson, I don't think Henderson gonna make it to 44 either. Demetrius Knight, I know Tuck talked about him, so keep an eye out on him. Chase Run, Connecticut. Damian Martinez, I think, is a backup plan. He was at the local day. Tet, highlight that name as a top as a 12. Highlight that name. Mimbo, highlight that name. Highlight Mimbo. And I know people are gonna be so upset at it, but you got a top 30. They met with him at the combine too. Highlight Mimbo's name. Benjamin Morrison, I don't know. I think that might be a 44, but I don't think that that's a first round. Walter Nolan, highlight that name. Highlight Walter Nolan. I'm hoping that you guys are kind of getting where I'm going with this theory, right? James Pierce, I don't know how serious they are about him. I think that if they're wiped out or if he's the best player on the board, you could possibly see that. You could possibly see that. Jordan Phillips, keep that name close, but that's middle rounds. Ravel, Siobhan Revel, top 44. Keep that name. Dylan Sampson. I I I don't know. I don't think Dylan Sampson. For me, I don't think that's a highlight name, but we'll see. Jonah Savanea. I would keep that name close. Carson Swessinger. Highlight that name. Highlight that name. I don't know where, but highlight that name. Josh Simmons. I think they kept their eye there. I don't know that if he fell that they wouldn't take him. I don't know if he fell that they wouldn't take him. Brashard Smith. I don't feel warm and fuzzy about that for them. Shamar Stewart. Highlight that name. Highlight that name for a top 12. Shamar Turner. Keep an eye out on it. I've gotten him in a couple of mock drafts. I should keep an eye on it because it's because that's a possible backup 3 technique. Bayasul Tootin, highlight that name for a mid round. He was a 30-day visit, and I believe they might have met with him at the combine possibly. So I would keep that name close. Michael Williams, defensive end. They brought him in for a top 30. See the trend: defensive end, corner, defensive tackle, running back, wide receiver. Savion Williams. I don't know if I feel warm and fuzzy about it. It's not about what I feel. I'm talking about from the Cowboys. Jarrett Wilson, possibly. I don't know. So we're gonna go to KD's list now. We're gonna share that one, right? And we're gonna look at the top national visitor list that they have right now. I think that there's 18 names as it stands right now. So I think it's 18 names. Yeah. Yep. Absolutely, bro. Absolutely. I do see that. I do see that. You know what I'm saying? Like, and also you think about Osa. You know what I'm saying? Like these are depth pieces behind that. So there is something to them attacking the 3 technique. I do think we need to show a 1. To me, I kind of feel like depth at the 1 is important, but there's something about the edges and there's something about the threes. You know what I'm saying? Something about the edges and there's something about the threes. All right, so I told you guys to keep some highlighted names. Tet was one of them. Shamar Stewart was one of them. Ekbuka was one of them. I think I told y'all Kelvin Banks. Something about Kelvin Banks tells me that this is a possible guard. Jay Tuck said this a while ago, and he was joking. But this is the type of move they make. It's the type of move that they make. Okay, Walter Nolan, Burden, Hampton. I said highlight it. 44. Now keep in mind when I say 44, it don't mean they won't trade up in front of somebody to get them in case they didn't get the running back, or if there's a run on running backs. I'm expecting a run on running backs. Late first round, early second round. Okay, keep this name right here as a possible 44. Collins right here. Love this prospect. Love this prospect right here. If he's there third, like I don't know if he somehow falls to third round, 76, but man, that would be an excellent pick. Would be an excellent pick. I've loved him since last year. Tootin, we talked about it. Mabuka, this name right here is intriguing. Anytime you hear that it's a Longhorn player, you always got to have your Longhorns or your antennas up. You always got to have your Longhorns or your antennas up just for that. You know what I'm saying? So some other things that was intriguing. We got our Dallas Day. So I talked about certain guys, right? We talked about Martinez, Gordon. Scratch him off the list. We talked about Genty. Some people like Jaquindon Jackson late. If it's a double up pick, if I've already got it back and I'm doubling up, I like that idea. Rashard Smith, they got him. And it was somebody else that's not on here. Tuck's guy, the DB. Tuck's got a DB. I forget his name. Gosh darn it. I'm gonna look it up now. But he's not in this article. But I know for a fact. I think it's Kendall Paul. Kendall Paul is not on this list right here, but Kendall Paul is definitely in play for the Dallas Cowboys. Write that name down in your notebooks. Kendall Paul. My guy J Tuck Percy interviewed him. He ran the 4.29 at the pro day. I'm not going to share some of the info. I'm going to let Tuck share some of that if he wants to share it. But Kendall Paul is in play. Kendall Paul. And people might be like, Kendall Paul? Like, who is this dude? Go check out Tuck's Instagram or go check out my Instagram because, we collaborators together. Mine is DMV Fanatic. His is JTuck151. And he's got an interview with him, probably a link to the interview. And, you got him running the 4.29 at the pro day. So Kendall Paul as a mid-round, late round, he's a hotbed name. They're trying to keep it quiet. For me, I want what's best for the kid. So I'm going to push it out there. All right. So here are some reported visit meetings alternative. We talked about Amos. We talked about Barron. Cross them off the list. We talked about, corner, Hampton again. We talked about Caleb Johnson, Will Johnson, Morrison. So this is just names that pop up from the combine. And then we talked about that. And then we had a private workout here for the Auburn guy. I don't know much about him. Maybe I need to figure it out if they had the private workout. So this was important to me right here. So this right here. And when I talk about this, then I'll open it up for questions and then I'm going to get up out of here. Ohio State. We got to get one or a couple guys from Ohio State this year. We have to. I mean, you just talk about the pedigree, you talk about NFL-ready guys. Ohio State, their program is doing a hell of a job. Hell, they spent the most money in college football for a reason because they went out there, they got talent. NFL bodies are ready. Good training program. Excellent coaching. Ohio State, we definitely have to tap into the Ohio State roster this year. So one, if not two, from Ohio State. Texas A&M. They're definitely, I think, looking, and Shamar Stewart is a hot name. puts the king. I put it on Twitter. Puts the king talked about it. He talked about it early. He talked about it in the Senior Bowl. Said that he was easily the best defensive end there. I kind of started diving into tape early this morning. Sometimes I just dive into tape, man. When I don't know if anybody else gets woken up out their sleep. Like, do you get like sometimes like you? I think that happens with visionaries. I believe that I'm a visionary, and sometimes like it might be like 3 o'clock in the morning, it might be 1 o'clock in the morning, but something tells you, hey, go look at film of so and so. Go do a video. Start a video on this, or start a video on that, or start drawing up plays, or you know what I'm saying? Like things like that always pop into my head. And my wife probably thinks that I'm nuts, but I think that that's what I'm not gonna say that I do believe like I have taken the IQ test and I've tested at genius levels. You know what I'm saying? I do have some quirks about me, but you know what I'm saying? Like I think that that's some of the things that like guys like Kanye you suffer from. You know what I'm saying? Where it's just like your mind is always turning, and you never know when it's going to turn on. But sometimes when it turns on, turns on. But that's beside the point. I started watching Stewart tape this morning. I think that in the run game, he's a hell of a guy. You know what I'm saying? You see him set the edge against guys like Will Campbell. I watched LSU and I watched Missouri. And against Mimbo and Will Campbell, he set the edge against those guys really, really good. Very, very raw in the pass rushing game as far as his approach and stuff like that. Like to me, 12 is a little too rich for that because I know that I got Dante Fowler. I know that Sam Williams. I know that I just got Nealon last year with a second round pick. And so some of the things that you like about him, Nealon is just a less explosive version of that. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, some of the things you like about Nealon, you like about Shamar Stewart's tape. I don't know that he's a day one starter. That's my only gripe about picking him at 12. But if you go BPA and he's there and he's your best on the board, I can understand it. But then we're in the same situation with Mozzie, with with Guyton, where it's like your day one guy isn't head and shoulders better than some of the guys you got on your roster. Like as it starts right now, because NFL experience and years of experience and all that stuff matters. You know what I'm saying? That's why it's like running back. That's one of the positions you can hit the ground running, like Jay Tuck said the other day. Sometimes wide receiver is one of the. Sometimes cornerback is. Sometimes you know what I'm saying. D line, trenches, tight ends, like some of that stuff because of some of the nuances and the leverages and stuff you got to learn and the strength and speed. Like it sometimes it takes having a learning curve. What's up, D Money? What's going on? Ben Larimore asks, is wide receiver round one or nothing? I don't think so. I think that this year Dallas is not trying to get in the predicament that they were last year, where they had Graham Barton, they had the guy that I think that they really wanted, but they because of the Trey Lance trade, they had to try and get that fourth back, and so I don't think that they thought anybody was going to pull the trigger on Graham. And then it was just like, okay, well, we have to go offensive line. So who's the next best on the board that is our best? And I think that it ended up being Guyton. And that's why I don't think they had a plan for him. People can say what they want. I don't think there was a plan for Guyton last year as far as his development. Because we knew he was raw and it was going to take some time. And I do think that he's going to make massive improvements this year. I think he's going to make massive improvements. I also think Mozzie Smith is going to make massive improvements this year. These were guys that were really raw at their positions, really raw. And them being that raw, it didn't make up for, like their athleticism didn't make up for the experience that some of the guys on the roster had. And so these guys were projects. And I do think that eventually they'll pay out. I do think that. You know what I'm saying? I might have been a little upset because I knew what it would cost, and it's catching up to us, and it caught up to us last year. It caught up to us last year. So just keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. Ole Miss. So they went to that pro day. That's why I said highlight Walter Nolan, because they actually went there and that was Shoddy that went there. You know what I'm saying? They did get a look at Jackson Dart, but keep in mind this, right? Maybe the idea was to go get a look at Jackson Dart and Walter Nolan, but Dart wasn't what they were. I think Dart was probably a guy that they were really intrigued in, but then you go out and make the move for Milton. So I think you could scratch him off the list. I do believe that. Tennessee, Eberflus went there. So I talked about Pierce. You talk about Sampson. So just keep those guys in mind. Georgia, we talked about Michael Williams. And Georgia always has something. Like Trevor Etienne, keep that in your mind too. He's not on any list, but he's a really good player. And he's a really good running back if you decide to double up. Like if you get a top running back and then late you get Trevor Etienne, you can let go of Miles Sanders or Javonte Williams. You can let go of one of them, in my opinion. You probably can. And then South Carolina. I don't know who on the list was from South Carolina. Maybe somebody in the comment section can remember. Not sure exactly why they would have gone to South Carolina's pro day. It might have been, I think, Demetrius Knight. Was he the linebacker from let me go back and check. I think so. I think it was Demetrius Knight. Yeah, it was Demetrius Knight. So that's why I was like, all right, man, some of these guys, like, you know, keep an eye out on them. But I do think that Dallas, with this coaching staff, with Shoddy, I do believe that they have a better plan this year. I do believe that, you know. So excited about what the future holds. Ben said Knight, safety, D-line. So yeah, man, I just want to get on here real quick, talk about some of those things, talk about some of the guys that they might bring on. You know what I'm saying? I think that they revealed a lot of what they want to do. And, you know, might be some things that we don't agree with, but just, you know, those names that I told you guys to highlight. But I got a top 5. So my top 5 of people you should highlight at number 12. Kelvin Banks, Membu, Shamar Stewart, Hampton, and Ibuka. Those are my top 5 hottest names. Outside of Ashton Jeanty. Ashton Jeanty is that's a if something crazy happens. That's a if something crazy happens. But Kelvin Banks, Membu, Shamar Stewart, Marion Hampton, and Ibuka. Those are the guys that I believe are the hot button names. So JC Cowboys Network, my guy with the $10, the $9.99. Keep up the great work, my brothers. 2 more weeks. Absolutely, bro. Hey, we got to rap too, though, bro. We definitely got to rap about doing some work together. We definitely do. I thought about you this morning. Actually, Jazz hit me up too. Jazz hit me up about something too, and it's something that I want to rap to you guys about. So we definitely, you know what I'm saying, we definitely got to do some work. But appreciate y'all, man. I'm going to get out of here. I got to get back and do some work. I just took a quick break and, you know what I'm saying, like, hey, the day job got to pay, right? So I'm going to leave you guys with the outro, man. If you guys appreciated what you saw, leave a super chat, leave a comment, you know, any comment, you know, but more importantly, hitting the like button if you don't want to give anything monetarily, that probably does just as much. So on the way out, man, hit that like button. I think we had a great discussion today. And I'm going to leave you guys with the outro. And we out. Peace.
I can't feel the pain, I'm numb to all you say. To keep it real and stay 100 through the rain. I can feel it's something missing from your face. To keep it real and stay 100 in your veins. Put me in these boxes, still I'm tryna break away. I just roll it up and down some liquor for my pain. Thoughts inside my head, it's nightmares instead of some dreams. I've been tryna hold on to everything from the seams. Try to get it by any means. There's no accepting defeat with all this pressure that's on me. Trusting whenever I breathe, cause everything is on me. If everybody is down, I gotta pick up all the pieces. Yeah, I can't fall, cause I do it for my dog, so she can make it fall. Ain't worry about your comments, cause I believe in karma. No time for your bullshit or any petty drama.